Hello, and welcome everyone on another umbraCoffee episode 184. I'm just checking every week to keep up.
How crazy is it? We're nearly at 200. I know we say this a lot. There's always milestones, isn't there? 150, 100, whatever. But 200 episodes will be happening later this year, sometime. I think November time, which is mad.
Yeah, we need to plan something cool for that. For
4
sure.
years of umbraCoffee this year.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome everyone. We are aware that there are some other various events happening at the same time, so you might be either distracting yourself or trying to catch up after being or seeing it live here. But of course, as every week, we're here to discuss everything Umbraco. And Callum, you've teased it already on Twitter today that today we are going to talk mostly about releases.
Yeah, normally we have like a releases section in an episode. We talk about 3 or 4 things that someone has released this week. I don't think there's anything this week other than releases. It's just release conversations. And even some of the stuff, we talk about podcasts and blog posts, they're also about releases. So today's episode is, release focused.
Yeah, but that also means that we have really regular cycles of some various releases. They are followed. We have a regular content input at least for the number of coffees. And if there's anything else not going on, like events or anything like that, we can definitely always focus on things like that. So let's kick it off and talk about 8.15 release. We were mentioning it for weeks. It was very expected release, very awaited release, and it's here, right? It's Tuesday was the day, and Thursday. Oh yeah,
literally came out yesterday. I've not had a chance to install it yet or play with it, but we spoke about this, didn't we? Media picker updates, deep linking for dashboards. Oh, and the big one, all of the stuff that Chad's done with reducing the footprint and the improving performance there. I was speaking with one of the team yesterday who said they'd be doing an upgrade, and I said, take a quick snapshot before you do the upgrade on 8.14, I think it was, and then just how much resource is the site using, and then let's do it after as well and just compare.
Yeah, I did the same, and we also watched this unboxing video, which I really like. Again, it just highlights everything. You don't need to install to be up to date with anything what happened there. So yeah, we watched this video yesterday, and right now it's just planning to install and upgrade wherever it's possible, because of all of these changes which we were mentioning. Great and reduced footprint and general faster booting and then faster almost everything, plus reduced costs of general maintenance of the Umbraco projects, especially on Azure, which was what was mentioned on Chad's blog post back in the days. It's a lot faster. There were references to this version on Shannon's talk on Code Garden, and also there are some great benchmarks, charts, and information about changes and improvements on GitHub in this link. So yeah, it's here. It's everyone can check it out after release candidate. And to be honest, I completely missed this feature. I don't know. I was just scanning through that. I didn't see that.
Something that's been needed for years and years.
Yeah, exactly.
You say to a client, "Oh, there's this dashboard," and you have to say, "Well, go to the settings section," and you see the tabs on the top. You select one of those. But it was explained in the unboxing video that actually Runa mentioned they need this for Umbraco Deploy. So it's a cloud thing that's come back into this, where they needed a way of linking to different sections of the CMS, which makes a ton of sense. So it just chucks a query string parameter up on the URL, and you can do that. But I can see this being helpful for packages and everything too.
Yeah, and even right-click and open a new tab, just to have a new tab open with something. I completely missed that, and I was not even able to name it and request for a feature like that. And it's such a simple but of course amazing improvement, which will help and improve general user experience on the platform. Various other improvements for unintended installs, ability to create users through the installs, and a lot, of course, of community contributions. 39 bug fixes and features in this release, and 23 of them have been contributed by community. So that's very impressive.
Look at that! 4 first-time contributors in this release, also, which is It's fantastic. And of course, the Umbraco have been planting trees for every release they do. And this one results in another 25 trees being added to the Umbraco Forest, which is now approaching 3,000 trees, pretty close to 3,000 trees, which is unbelievable considering it's only been live 2 or 3 months.
So more regular releases, more community contributions, and that will be a very, very big forest here. But we've been mentioning also this performance improvements, and Chad shared a great picture. Am I here?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Okay, I'm unfrozen now. So Chad shared a picture of the gift he received from Umbraco as a big thanks for the whole contributions. 6 PRs or 4 PRs? I can't remember now. 6 PRs for this version alone.
They're not just small PRs.
Yeah, they are not typo fixes. Yeah, so great, and it's a great recognition as well from the Umbraco perspective, and as we were mentioning it many times, it's like it's great to have contributor like Chad and people in person who is dedicated to a special area of the coding and performance in here, for example, and how big impact can come even from the single contribution, single people. So I think we can all use this example as something, as an introduction or encouragement for people to really share their expertise. A lot of things like that can help in general, and we were always mentioning it, and Umbraco was mentioning it, that when someone is working constantly on one product, the team might not see the things which are obvious or clear for someone who is just jumping for the first time on the product. So
Shannon mentioned in Chad's case here, he's running a large site with a lot of content, or there's certain scenarios where the issues that he's fixing really do become, serious issues. In a site with maybe 10 nodes in it, you're not going to notice, but unless people like Chad with those sites, with those examples, can step up and say, hey, actually, this is a real bottleneck, people don't know about it.
But I remember many discussions about big sites and general big projects on Umbraco, and of course back in the days or a couple of years ago it was like, okay, maybe Umbraco is not made for handling projects of this size, or maybe it's not suitable for the solution which is requiring this and that. And right now it's just going away with every release, with new, of course, the .NET Core version, all of these improvements, all of these small steps which are making the big impact on these solutions. I suffer finding excuses anymore for most of the projects. So that's good. That's a good sign for sure for all of us.
It's funny as well. We've had sites that have had hundreds of thousands of nodes on them, and that's not really a major issue. But one of the things that I have noticed becoming a real bottleneck is things like versions. So actually, large sites with a lot of content, or sites with not that much content, but the content gets changed so often.
Active content, let's say.
Yeah, and a big culprit is usually like these nightly or scheduled imports that come in and just overwrite all of the content with some new values on a schedule, and it really builds up, and the database gets huge. And we kind of halved the load time of a site by cleaning up content versions recently, which is again really crazy. So it's different for everyone's use cases, right?
Yeah, I remember every time when I'm talking about packages like unversion, for example, it's like mind blow for people who are not using it, or are not even hearing about it, or not being aware that these versions are sometimes treated as a...
What happened with that potentially going into core? Do you remember?
No.
Because it was on the roadmap. I'm going to check. It was something that was discussed, but...
Maybe it's good to refresh this with the V9 upfront, because that will be definitely very helpful when it comes to setting it up, just clearing, maybe also automating some of the clearance after.
Version cleanup is now in the later section of the roadmap. I was pretty sure it was further down the roadmap, but
yeah. Runa just replied as well here that version cleanups is on the roadmap, so fingers crossed to have it implemented and included soon. There are also other things which are happening in between, and stuff like security improvements and advisories. It's been a while, right? It's been a while. It's been a while since since the last advisory. But we've seen the article written by Andy this week about security patches coming for Umbraco Forms. And being ready on July 20th. So yeah, there is information that all of the versions of Umbraco Forms since version 4 are affected, and they will be fixed by this vulnerability.
And to be clear here, I think so. This is version 4 of Umbraco Forms, which
Yes.
was valid for V7 onwards. I think, if I remember this correctly. So I think V4 of Forms was V3 of Forms was on V6, and I think V4 of Forms was on V7. So this is affecting the Umbraco 7 sites with Umbraco Forms on it, basically, and above any site. And it's a nice serious one. It's a remote code execution vulnerability.
Of course, very funny, very powerful. But again, the advisory is pretty straight and clear. There is instruction how to upgrade, when we can all expect that. Also, there is an information how it will affect and how it will be implemented on Umbraco cloud sites. So whoever is using the cloud might be interested in this release plan. Also, there is an acknowledgement and appreciation for Gary, who helped in discovering the whole issue. There is going to be more information shared about it after a while.
We saw Gary on Twitter saying yesterday actually that they will release in 4 weeks. When people have had time to patch and stuff, they'll release some full details of exactly what the vulnerability was, how they discovered it, everything that was involved. But also, and I think this is nice from both sides, this blog post, of course, acknowledging Gary and saying thanks for highlighting it and raising it. This is an external security researcher that has been checking this, and equally, Gary was thanking Umbraco on Twitter to say thanks a lot for the way you've handled this. It's been handled really well, professionally, properly.
Fast as well, right? Because I also saw that because I think there is a lot of situations, and we've seen a lot of situations in IT where people reported something and there was nothing happening with that, or no one picked this up, and there is a lot of ignorance across the software vendors and providers. But here, there's something what is worth mentioning is this appreciation coming also back to Umbraco from Gary's side and his company side for handling it on the Umbraco side. What makes us all think and hopefully sleep better, because we know that Umbraco and the great team on Umbraco sides is just not wasting time and really reacting to reports like that.
For sure. And it's good. Like you say, this is the first one that we've had reported publicly in a long time. That's not to say there hasn't been security patches and fixes, but I know Umbraco regularly does internal reports and testing as well. I think every 3 months there's expected to be a report of kind of everything, that's cloud and CMS and the lot. And yeah, it's good to know that they can react and handle it well, right?
So yeah, we are probably all waiting for more information about it. All of the security freaks and fans of all the vulnerabilities and postmortems are awaiting this information. So yeah, let's hope for great details about it. And now just await patches and upgrade as soon as possible.
It's going to be like the we've had client dependency vulnerabilities and stuff before, haven't we? Where it's like, oh, okay, so someone's going to take a whole day and go through and drop DLLs on every site.
But I always have this temptation to always test it if it was really an issue.
I remember a situation with a client where they wouldn't allow us anywhere near their infrastructure. They kind of handled everything, and we said, well, we've applied the patch to the repo. It's now up to you. Make sure this is deployed. And it's like, an incredibly security conscious organization that didn't want us near the infrastructure, and yet the vulnerability was there and very easily exploitable. I think you could get the full web config and everything.
Yeah.
Easily exploitable weeks after.
I probably showed it as well for you at some point. It was like big government sites here in Poland where we're running Umbraco, and they asked me for help, and I helped them. I pointed what is the exact issue, and if we're here saying here about this ignorance and time of reaction, couple months after that, they were still not upgraded. So it's like. Really, speed of reaction for issues like that is important, especially because of the fact that we don't want to react when it's too too late. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I also set up two-factor authentication after I lost my Twitter account. So don't do that. Don't do that. Always do it up front and be prepared.
One of my favorite, I wouldn't want to say pastimes, but occasionally I do it, is if you go to GitHub and you search Umbraco DBDSN. There is a hell of a lot of connection strings up there that are public, and you can, and even, to be honest, even if it's not public, chances are a developer may have checked in a password that they use in a ton of other places as well. And I wouldn't dare try them, but they're very obviously not randomly generated passwords. It's like a name of a pet or a name of a town or something. It's like, come on. And
then you can find someone's email in the commit messages and just try it out of curiosity. But I see that we have some cool hobbies here, and we won't be suggesting many more hobbies like that for people. But yeah, it's there. Be prepared, and I think we all need to make it more aware for all of us that it's important, and it's getting more and more important these days, I would say. Parental development advisory here.
Yeah, don't sue us, please.
Don't do that. Don't try it at home. Next one, packages releases and some enhancements releases, starting from Andy Butland and his his mapper called Anaxi Mapper. I don't know how to correctly pronounce it. But
this is
Anaxi Mapper.
So this used to be Mapper.
Yes, Mapper.
So I think it started. It started in V6 as Zone Mapper, or V7 as a Zone Mapper, and it was Zone Umbraco Mapper, I think. And so Andy took it. Andy's kind of had this for years, but of course Umbraco in core has got Umbraco Mapper now, which is what they replaced Automapper with in V8, where you register custom map definitions and manually define map this to this. They're not the same thing, and it was very confusing at the time. So Andy's updated it for V9 and rebranded as Anaxi Mapper. I don't know where that word comes from, but yeah, Anaxi Mapper.
He was a philosopher. I read the story about Anaxi here. It was something like philosopher here. It was mentioned somewhere. It was a philosopher from ancient Greece. So the name has its story. So great work here. And again, I still have a temptation to do some kind of comparison of mappers available for Umbraco developers.
I know that I think James South, because he was developing a mapper at some point, he did some performance stuff and said, I'm going to compare them, and it was against his mapper ditto and the zone one, I think, and I think he fine-tuned his so it came out on top, and then it inspired Lee to go away and read up on some performance tuning, and he performance tuned his, so they were pretty much on par with each other, which is awesome. Really awesome to see that.
Yeah, exactly. I would really love to see this kind of comparison again, because we often decide on choosing some of the tooling like that, and it will be great to see again in the whole spirit of performance improvements, to see which one is the fastest or has the most to offer when it comes to mapping. But yeah, great work here. Everyone can check this mapper. Second on our list is Darren with his Docker file for Umbraco V9. Once again, I think with every new release, we have a really great Docker file prepared for all of us to just kick it off and play around. There are some ideas even from our team members that to release it with more flexibility options of creating DBs, or just maybe pointing to another DBs which exists somewhere. But here,
your team released maybe end of last year, mid last year, released an early V9 Docker image as well, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Adrian is a Docker master in our team, and I think he's going to really help and maybe improve this Docker file and this journey for all of us who wants to test it quickly without installing ton of the tooling and stuff, and that's exactly for what it's made. And here Darren just made it quicker and easier for all of us.
It would be really nice if if Umbraco maintained one themselves and put it on. Is Docker Hub still a thing, or is that now?
Docker Hub is a thing, and
So,
that would be really amazing. Yeah.
Umbraco could put it there and have something that the community can contribute to, or even just something that's on the GitHub package repository, something that we can easily connect to and pull from, would be nice.
Yeah, I believe that it's somewhere maybe far away on the roadmap or plans, because it opens the whole ecosystem of applications or automated installs, Azure DevOps pipeline stuff and things like that. That's I was installing OWASP scanner from Docker file just as a step on the DevOps pipeline. That works amazing. So we can dream about it now, but it's closer than ever before.
Recently for some infrastructure dependencies, like we had an Elasticsearch dependency or a service bus like RabbitMQ or something that's needed, and you can just spin up a Docker container and it's all there, and it is very helpful for that.
I still cannot stand how big disk space it requires on my machine. So I'm not a huge Docker fan after installation of it on my machine, but besides that, it's amazing. Next one on the list is Shannon with all of the Examinex updates and retweets of own tweets, but we catched up. We know what's going on. We know what's going on here. It's version 2 and version 3 beta for Umbraco v9 with Examinex, which is how to say it, wrapper and replacement of Examine and Lucene version with the Azure search and more providers upfront for the search requirements. So yeah, whoever was using it now, I heard about some pretty cool implementations on top of that. So people definitely wants to see it on the V9. So it's getting there. Next one, we are going by countries or by countries of residence. Nathan with his plumber.
We discussed this one last week, didn't we? That Nathan had been chatting with Matt about potentially going down the multi-targeting route, and he's confirmed that that's the case. So the V2 that comes next, he's saying hopefully Plumber V1's kind of gone. V2 will come next, and it's just going to be a multi-targeted version of the exact same thing. So it will work with Net Core, which would be really, really cool. It'll be a nice example of, again, it's a commercial package. So I did see this week someone saying they had an open source package that was going to be multi-targeted, and it was a small code base. Might have been Kevin that said it. Kevin jumped in something. I'll find the link because we don't have it.
Yeah, it was Kevin's linked pages probably or something.
That was it. Yeah. So Kevin Jump's done that this week with multi-targeting that, but that's probably the first open source package I've seen discussed that is multi-targeted. Whereas with this, it's another commercial package. But really cool to see people taking that approach too.
And as we are talking about open source packages, it's obviously a open lesson, an open book for all of us to see how it's done, what it comes with to make the package multi-targeted like that. And yeah, I still also want to see how it's done, because ideally it will be great to be able to quickly and easily implement something like that to our packages. What's next on our list? Skybrat redirects. New stable release for Umbraco V8. I don't know if we still need to describe this package and great upgrades coming from Anderson and the Skybrat team. Redirects manager for Umbraco. If you didn't use it, just try it. It's doing its amazing job there.
It's like it's one of the first packages we install on any solution. Really should have something in core for it, but whatever. It's the go-to from our side.
I still want to see this import functionality, which was done somewhere in some hidden forks by various people. But yeah, that's something what really easily extended this package, and because it's open source, everyone can do it. But yeah, new version release here. The next one is Richard's SEO checker. Yeah, SEO checker. Yeah. It has the new version with some bug fixes and new support for the media picker version 3 as default property there. So yeah, fans of SEO Checker can just upgrade and see and use the newly upgraded package. But if we were mentioning package creators, Lee, Matt, and Kevin, there is a new release of Package Manifest podcast from Matt and Kevin, discussing how they approached releasing the packages when it comes to reacting to release candidate being released on Umbraco.
Yeah, because of course last week Matt announced the Vendor V2 multi-targeted, but alpha. Kevin has gone through a whole process with Usync and the Usync Complete as well. They've done alphas, they've done betas, they've now got release candidate Usync. So it's about discussing. This podcast is about discussing, those release processes and what thought goes into making something a release candidate or making something good enough to say, yeah, this is beta now. Well worth a listen. Really good, as always, of course.
Yeah. And yeah, we will include the links to packages and also the package which we were mentioning about the multi-targeted stuff in the notes. Vendor, we've mentioned Matt and Vendor, and Byte 5 team released an interview with Matt about Vendor V2 and various other things related with Matt's activity and Vendor partner program and a lot of other stuff like that. So I believe everyone who is interested in Vendor and Matt's activity around that, and not only, just go and check it out on Byte 5 blog. Great interview.
It's also available in German, so they've got the German version of it too.
Okay, I probably seen it in the German version first, and then I thought that maybe it's
I
not the
did
one,
as well, but I know that Byte 5 do a great job of maintaining their site in both English and German. And I went to the English version of the site and found the blog, and it was there, thankfully. So.
And here again, big five for Byte 5 team for this format, and I think I really like it. And again, it's something new, something fresh, and it's great to see stories and interviews like that. So yeah, keep them coming. Code Garden Talks, new blog was released. Callum, how's your status of talks watched?
Yeah, it's
same as mine.
About as good as yours, Marcin. It's about as good as yours. I tweeted earlier that my talk's available now, and Arnold said it's been up there a week, which probably just says everything you need to know.
I think again, as I said before we went live, I need some pretty good holidays to catch up on this. But yeah, the playlist looks amazing, and right now I think again we can just once again said that how big it was, how big the conference was, how much content was shared across these days when it went live, and yeah, everyone can see, everyone can rewatch and just enjoy.
Over 50 videos there now. That includes some of the small clips, but there's going to be an incredible amount of talks. I think they've still got maybe one or two blocks of talks to go, so still another couple hours of content there. It's going to be it's going to take you days to go and rewatch it all.
Amazing work here. When it comes to knowledge and learning, there is also an opportunity, what is called Learnathon. It was started by Emma, Carol, and the whole Candid contribution team, if I remember correctly at the beginning.
Yeah, Emma and Carol were running these throughout May or June? May, I think it was. In the run up to Code Garden.
Yeah. So the whole definition of the series is here on this blog post, and the plan right now, if I'm correct, is to ship it for the Gold partners, developers working with Gold partners. And today, Callum,
it's right now.
Yeah, it's right now.
Most of a lot of people are joining. I think it had 50 odd signups. And there was a bit of feedback on Twitter, of course, people saying, but why is it only for Gold partners now? Like, it was open before. I think this is just to address some of the specific things Gold partners have requested. But I like the idea of the format, which was that these community learnathons were they didn't necessarily have a presenter or a topic. It was come along, learn with us. Like we're going to be learning at the same time, and we'll solve problems and sort things out. Don't come expecting to be, have knowledge dumped on you, but come with an open mind, willing to learn. I think that's great, but it's probably a bit different to what Gold partners expect if they're giving people in their teams time to attend these things. It may be a bit more structured. I know that Bjarke and Philip and Co are involved in this one. today as well. So it's a slightly different event. And they did say on Twitter, the community ones will be back in at some point if there's demand, which is nice.
Yeah. I really like this idea, especially in these times in which we were due to the COVID stuff. You need some pairing, you need some other developers exploring something with you. So I think it's great series. So big shout out to organizers here. And yeah, if you are attending and you are watching umbraCoffee episode, let us know how it went. And yeah, shoot out and share it on Twitter to also make everyone else aware that something like that is happening at all. Because I think a lot of people miss it and then not learn new stuff. Next on our list is video, being a pure follow-up from Paul to his recent release of the package called Our Umbraco Dynamic Images. And in this video, Paul just goes through the implementation and the integration of the package for the purpose of generating dynamic images based on some content and some maps of the images. Great stuff. I really like this series, so high five, Paul, for video format of the package and how to implement it here. And last but not least on our list is new hire. Again, became a tradition on our umbraCoffee episodes. Anthony joined the team to make the second level support line stronger.
Team. I didn't know they were called that, but that's cool.
Yep. But Anthony shared his story about starting writing code in BASIC at 5. So a lot of experience in coding here, Quake experience included, and also great story about the new company and team edition. Check it out if you are interested. And that's probably all from our list.
It's funny because this morning, Marcin, we were discussing that it's all releases this week. It's the only news is releases, and it's getting a bit boring because every week it's like there's another release candidate, or there's another beta, or there's another patch or something. But it's testament to how the community and the product itself has grown. I think it's growing up is growing, right? You've got to mature.
We didn't change the title of that. It was supposed to be either don't grow up, it's a trap, or something like that. But yeah, it's great. It's both great and not great. We obviously don't want to have some unexpected issues or failures to highlight here. But if it's predictable and easy to predict and also up to the schedule, that's great. And we can focus on various other stuff. And people seems to react to it as well.
We'll start to see more exciting things as well when V9's out and people are starting to build new packages on V9, V9 only stuff. That would be cool. It's also summertime. People are on holiday and things. We always have this. We always have 2 or 3 dry spells in the year, like just before or after Christmas and the summer as well. But we'll get back to it. We'll be back on it.
Of course. So right now, aim to focus on Forms security advisory. Expect new releases. Test out 8.15, and we will of course highlight everything else from the upcoming week on the next Friday. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching us. Like, subscribe as always, and thanks for all the other great support from Buy Me a Coffee. They said that they will release some new features today or yesterday. I need to check it out. Yeah,
I think Bianca after last week's episode supported us, which is incredibly generous. Given that he was on the episode, he didn't need to do that. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. And we've discussed before a few times on umbraCoffee that this money's not really going into our pockets necessarily. Like it costs us about $500 a year to put this on anyway, which is fine. And people have more than covered it with their generous donations. But it really helps.
Still exploring opportunities how to sell coffee in an official way, but yeah, branded coffee. It's not that easy in European law, unfortunately. But I will explore.
Maybe we can have some to give away at the next in-person event or something.
Something like that. Cool. So everyone have a great rest of the day and weekend ahead. Like, subscribe, share as usual, and see you next Friday.